Hey there, everybody. Good morning and welcome back to Reaper Pro Tips, the post Labor Day, post ReaperCon, I don't know. Good morning, something edition. Anyway, we've got Disembodied Hands on deck with Quindy, Justin, and John, although Justin and John may be still, deep six from ReaperCon. I get the feeling it's just us girls today. How you doing, guys? Post sanity. Yeah, Ron was running around. Ron is always going to be running around at ReaperCon, especially with Ed and Dave out. Hey, Jedi Jared. Oh my God, 40 months. The big 4-0. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. Yeah, back to real life. I know, right? And like, for me, that's like triple true because, you know, the puppy and all that. So like, we're finally getting back into a routine. She is not in her puppy crate today because she was sick over the weekend, and she's actually crashed in her regular crate in the main room. I've got my babysitter, Matt Mercer, is taking care of the puppy right now. She had really bad diarrhea. Like, she'd had soft stools, and then it turned to really, really bad diarrhea. So I rushed her to the emergency vet just for shits and giggles. Ha ha. See what I did there? And yeah, so they diagnosed her after some lab work, and we have real meds now, and she's already doing better. And yeah. Oh, I am. Ta-da! I'm prepared. So I've actually been getting some sleep. David, of course, brought Concrud home, so he is currently still sleeping in the other room. Yeah, she's got meds. Yeah, she's got meds now. She can be even dingo-y-er, if that's a word. More dingo. I have scars. I have the scars. See my scars? Yeah, because baby puppy teeth. And they don't mean it, but human skin is so soft compared to other puppy fur, so. Yeah, we did an 1,800-mile road trip. If she hadn't picked something up, even though I was relatively careful, like I always had her, in the room and used potty pads instead of taking her outdoors. But she's still going to be like on the road. We're going to have to stop, and she's a baby puppy, so she needs to stop every couple hours. So you're going to, it was almost inevitable that she'd pick up something. So yeah. Aw, thanks, Carrie Michael Cosby. Gold. Wow. Wow. Carrie Michael, all the respect. Gold. Gold is hard. Gold is hard. Now you have to like keep that level and even push it up a little more to make sure you stay in the gold. That's really awesome though. I'm so happy for you. Gold is huge. Gold is huge. Like a lot of people, like most of us, I think, can get silver. Like, if you push yourself and you do a good clean paint job and you can, you get your blends in decent order and all that, but pushing it to gold is a whole nother standard. So I'm super proud of you. Thanks for sharing. And yes, I have a Patreon, as Carrie has pointed out. Yay! Along with a fantastic Discord that goes along with it, where I share puppy pictures and painting tips on occasion. Yeah, and you can find me at patreon.com/paintingbig. Thank you. I'm getting back into the swing of things now. Gold Sophie, silver Sophie, and a gold mouseling. Oh, I want that mouseling so bad. So bad. Yeah, but now you can make a trophy shelf. Now one of your bookshelves can become the trophy shelf. That's super awesome. I have my trophies up staring at me right now. The two that I won, the last two. The first two in 20 years, right? From this year, earlier this year. So yeah, so now I have to go back and get another golden demon, I think. That'll be the next thing. But at first I have to get the puppy, like settled in. Aw. Yay! Mwah! Big hearts. Thanks, Gary Michael. You're awesome. Thank you. And you're welcome. So cool. Awesome, guys. Yeah, so we're getting back. The puppy's getting, she's still a little bit, like, she's just on her first day of meds yesterday, so, it'll take a couple days, but she wasn't eating breakfast very well, and she ate her entire big breakfast this morning, so I was super happy about the puppy. Jeep Newbie, thank you. Prime, 9 months. Thank you so much. Awesome. We really appreciate it. We really, really do. I promise I'll get to painting soon and then stop talking about puppies. Maybe you've got the trophies to prove it now, Carrie Michael. Yeah. Although depending on the age of the nieces, right? Because if they're teenagers, it doesn't matter if you're an Oscar winner. Oh, cool, Twistoma. That's fantastic. Yeah, good, good, good. Yeah, the competition, just for the record, uh-oh, we have problems. I'm not seeing anything. Not seeing anything on my end. Oh, I didn't mean to get that up there. There. Let me go to cam. But hopefully, looks okay on Quindy's end. Yeah, looks okay here. Maybe it's Scottish internet at the moment. We all love puppies. Yes, we do. Oh, so, well, let's see. Do I have a cute picture? Let me see if I have a cute picture, since I don't have the puppy in the crate here. So, let's see here. Where are my cute puppy pictures? I think I put a couple up on the Patreon. But the dingo, the cutest dingo, in front of the fan yesterday, totally camped out because it was so hot. Guys, it was 106 here yesterday, and we don't have AC. So it got to 85 in the house, and we had luckily bought a freestanding AC unit for the bedroom. So all during the second half of the day, the puppy had a puppy camp puppy in the bedroom instead of being out in the main room with us. So yeah, and you can see actually that like the bottoms of her ears are kind of standing up a little bit. So she actually, we didn't expect to get standing ears out of this generation because outcross, but you can see here too, when she perks them to the front, they're actually collie ears, like where the base is standing and the top is tipping over. So she's a cutie. She's definitely a little cutie. Yeah, so the puppy camped out in the bedroom yesterday later on, and David's in there now with the AC. Yeah, there we go. So the problem is she holds her ears to the side all the time, but when she actually perks them forward, the base is standing up and the tip is flopping over. Yeah, she's a cutie. She's going to be, I think, a very dark dog, guys. She may even be what we call a black sable when she's done, because she looks really light right here, but her belly is all black. And you can see it there on her chest, that black spot. So she's got eye booger there. But, I would expect all of this black to go all the way down her sides. And I can see, if you see here, see this salt and pepper black? I would expect that to get darker as she gets older. So I would expect her to keep the light markings around her eyes, the light on top of her head. And I think she's going to get a little bit of a white bib here. And she's also got a white kind of tuxedo bow tie, which if she keeps that, is going to be super striking because I think her chest is going to be mostly black. So this is just my guesses, having looked at many Shiloh Shepherds as they were growing up. But she is a cutie and she loves Leafs. Leafs are the best. So yeah, so now I'm just happy that we can actually feed her all of the food she's supposed to be getting, because growing puppies, right? They need their foods. So I'm, oh, and David here, I'll show you the cute picture. So David is all excited because she's feeling better. And last night he took masking tape and we made, and this is a trick, by the way, if you ever have to measure how tall your dog is, find an end of a bookshelf or whatever, in this case it's the end of our breakfast buffet, put masking tape down that you can easily remove, and then you take your tape measure and mark all the inches. So we've got the 1 foot mark down here, and then we're starting at 20 inches here. So that way you can just lead your puppy in front of a place they go regularly anyway, and just hold a treat up for them, and then you can measure them. So if you ever need to know how tall your dog is for something, whether you're measuring for a crate or whatever, that's a good trick, because if you try to hold a ruler or anything next to them, as anybody who's ever tried to measure a dog knows, it's like impossible. So yeah, so we've got our official masking tape strip, which always happens with Shiloh Shepherds because we're always cheering for them to get to the height. But yeah, she's doing better. She's on meds now. Okay, so as I get my green stuff mixed up, because we're gonna do a little bit of green on here, I think, today. Also, I dug out some of my glue. So I mentioned wood glue, guys. So carpenter's glue. So this is essentially, wood glue is very similar to like an all-purpose glue or a PVA glue, but it's got a little bit extra stuff in it. I think it actually has like a bit of ground like wood in it. I don't remember what it's got, but it's essentially a little bit stronger than your average PVA. So this stuff is really good for basing and terrain as well. Just like white glue, it's usually a yellowish color, but it dries clear. And you're gonna be painting over it anyway. and it's thinnable, just like white glue. So you can work and mix water into it, and then mix it with gravel and stuff like that. But yeah, so it is. Do a photo a day. It's kind of traditional in our community to take a picture of the puppy with a specific toy, and then to take another picture every like 2 weeks. That's kind of how we do it here, Nico. I'm sure somebody's done a time lapse, but I don't know how big she's actually going to get. She could be a tiny Shiloh and only get to be like 24 or 25 inches. 26 is our breed minimum. So the hope is that, that's why 26 is like specifically marked on David's masking tape. 26 is our breed minimum for normal. Since she's an outcross, she'll get a little leeway there. But yeah, so. Oh, yeah. Oh, you just caught up with chat. So, yeah, and of course this is glued shut. Thanks, David. This is his wood glue. Mine went somewhere else. I don't know where it is. And of course it's glued shut. Oh, there it is. Yay. I managed to open it. So, yeah, we might use this today. Although I may have just like, man, this thing is like, no wonder it was like, there we go. Now we're good. I opened it and busted it. But, yeah, so this stuff, wood glue, anything like this, you can use it. If you want, I was looking for my Elmer's All-Purpose, but apparently I'm out of it, so I didn't get it. Elmer's All-Purpose is the basic white glue you can get almost at any grocery store, usually in the school supplies type and craft supplies, office supplies section. They'll at least have small bottles. Sometimes they only have Elmer's school glue. Never get anything other than all-purpose. Elmer's All-Purpose glue. If you're going to get a white glue that's just standard, like you can find it anywhere. Otherwise, you can just look at Michael's or Hobby Lobby or any craft store. Usually will have a PVA glue of some sort. Model railroad shops are going to have it. You can find it anywhere. It is a great tool for sealing cork. It'll fill in some of the texture. It'll make a smoother surface. Here today, we're going to use it to fill some gaps by bringing up some gravel because I really want this to be very ruined, this base she's on. But I want it to definitely be ruins, so I want to also put in some like flagstone markings, like kind of shattered cobblestone or flagstone down here. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking of. I also am thinking of taking one of the runes from her back and etching it into, kind of like we did, remember the half-orc base? And a bunch of people won't have sat through all that or have been here at that time. But I was thinking about doing one or more of the runes that are on her back etched down here and glowing, and maybe make her the tips of her fingers here glowing as well, to kind of say that she's like casting a spell. I was thinking about doing that. Yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, wood glue is awesome. Wood glue is awesome. Wood glue is a little more durable than your standard PVA or all-purpose, pretty much. We used it to seal, like, we used to use just boards to create like gaming tables. And we'd put down texture and flocking and stuff, and using just a layer of wood glue over the top of the paint and the basing would essentially seal the board and make it really much, it'd stand up to gaming much better without chipping and stuff. So yeah, I agree. I mean, I still own that model for a reason. That Ron didn't get that one. Apparently I was very popular at ReaperCon, even though I didn't go, because I gave the sculptors presents. So all right, so let's see. First, I think I want to do the little bit of gravel around the edges of here, because you can see if we get close, let me get in focus too. Oh, and if there's any weird noises in the background, it's because I have the Critical Role on for the puppy. I don't know if I may have told some of you this, some of you may have missed it, but since this litter was named after the characters in Campaign 1 of Critical Role, Bridget, when you have newborn puppies, you're sitting with them a lot. You're just making sure mom doesn't step on anybody. You're making sure everybody's getting, enough milk, and you're doing all that. So essentially, you are tied to your litter for a couple weeks. And so Bridget would have Critical Role up on the TV in her puppy room while she was with the puppies, and working on her stuff or whatever as background noise. And so the puppies have grown up. Like our first 8 weeks, the puppies were constantly listening to Matt Mercer in Critical Role. So the weirdest thing now is if you need the puppy to settle down and just like calm down and maybe nap, all I have to do is put on Critical Role. And if she is at all sleepy, not if she's totally dingoey, but if she is at all sleepy, she will totally settle down and fall asleep. and it will get her to. Yeah, just like with Elmer's Basil, you can totally mix wood glue with acrylic paints. Now, I wouldn't say it's good for see-through effects because it is yellow. It is like it does dry clear, but it doesn't dry as clear as an all-purpose glue. You can see the color. So I would say not good for see-through effects. If I was trying to do a see-through effect, I honestly would use like a gloss varnish because you can, in a water-based gloss, you can mix paint into that or inks. Yeah, she totally like settles down and sleeps during Critical Role. So right now we are currently listening to an episode of Critical Role while I stream because she was already asleep like when I got up to move in here, and I just didn't want to wake her up because then it's a whole 15 minutes to get her to settle again. Yeah, wood glue not good for snow effects, not good for any of that stuff. So I would say I would always go white glue, just all-purpose glue or PVA. Or I would do a direct mix with a water-based gloss varnish, either this. Reaper's gloss might be a little better for this if you're not trying to get a layered effect. I have my prototype bottle of Reaper gloss, but the Reaper's gloss is a little bit thinner, so it will actually mix nicer with some stuff. And it's also not quite as glossy because it's a little thinner. You have to build it up to get a really gloss effect with Reaper gloss. So you can tailor it a little bit more. So I would say, yeah, if you were trying to do more translucent stuff where you're mixing in paint or ink or stuff like that, I would totally say go with a gloss sealer or a matte or a brush-on sealer or with white glue. And it's up to you. Pupper watching D&D seems totally normal. Yeah. Yep. Technically she's listening, but yeah, she totally, and it's funny too because every once in a while they will absolutely scream, right, when somebody rolls a nat 20 when they really need to, and she just keeps sleeping. She's just used to it. The only problem with having Critical Role on all the time is it makes me want to play D&D. And I do like Matt Mercer's DMing style. It's he's good. He does exactly what he should when he's got a party of ridiculous players, which is to stay deadpan and to stay to be the straight man. Essentially, your world, when you've got a group of D&D players who inevitably are making jokes and doing inappropriate things at times, even in the best of games, it is your job to have the world be the straight man as the DM, I believe. And Matt Mercer follows this philosophy. Oh, okay, so let us get out some gravel. So the parts that, you can see those little gaps under her feet, right? Where the cork didn't quite come down level as I was shaping that. And you can see where I cut it. I had actually traced it and cut it pretty flush. So this is a pretty smooth surface on the front here. I'm pretty happy with it. I don't want to crumble it too much. I may come in and make some cracks in it though, because I do want it to feel like it is crumbly. And then I want to put some gravel to shore up, just like to show the crumbling stone coming down over here, and I'll probably trail that across the surface a little bit. So that's what I'm thinking so far, but I want to keep a nice open space to carve a rune in. And we could do all this with our hobby knife because cork is so easy to work with. So for those of you who haven't seen me do cork before, I highly recommend cork as basing material for 28mm. There's also this really thick stuff, the brown thick stuff that's really chunky. But for 28, I think this, it's essentially coaster. Like coasters use this particular level. So we've got, oh, I accidentally changed the color of my light. There we go. So this is about 1/4 inch. The stuff that I'm using on her base is about 1/4 inch. And you can see that the texture is the same. And then I've got a 1/2 inch. And the great thing about cork, and you can see it in this, is that when you take a tool and you just kind of crumble away at the edges, you can make it look very much like natural crumbling stone. And you can utilize the flat stuff. You can put sealers or plastic card. David will often use cut plastic card over the top of cork to disguise the cork and make the top very, very flat if he wants to do flagstones. If you use textured, there is like brick textured and stone textured plastic card as well. So you can do that if you want some ready-made texture to just put it down. Things like that. And then of course cork is soft, so it's very easy to pin the model onto the cork. Although because cork is soft, I always would advise when you're doing this especially to put a layer of glue, wood glue or something, over the top of everything to make the cork kind of seal. Because cork is soft, it is possible to break your bottle off the base unless you can get the cork to harden a little bit. And putting a layer of wood glue mixed in with water, or Elmer's all-purpose mixed in with water, putting that all over the top, the cork's going to absorb the water and a bit of the glue, and it's going to essentially like harden the outside layer. So it's not going to be as crumbly, and it's going to be more resistant to just handling and stress and strain and bending. So all that kind of thing. So that's what I've got on the docket today. So let us get our glasses and let's actually cut in some stuff onto this base. Then we will add gravel. Then we will do a section of glue. Then I'm going to assess, maybe I'll assess earlier than that. We'll see. So my back here is cut pretty well. I definitely can put some cracks in. Working with a sharper hobby knife, mine is a bit dull because I tend to do a lot of kind of sculpting stuff with it. So, and also I remove mold lines with it, so I like it a little dull. But I'm going to essentially put a couple cracks in here and see where I'm putting that in. Let me see if I can get even closer. There. So I'm going along with what I see as far as the shapes of the cork. And I can rip up a little bit to bring that up there, and now I'm essentially putting in this right here. So I'm going to use the very tip of my knife to kind of go back and forth, dig out the little crumbly bits of cork, and make a crack in this stone. Deep enough so that we can see it. You can see it taking form there. Hey Valendar, how's it going? There we go. So let's get that going. And if I dig out a little extra, that's not a big deal. I do have green stuff, and I can do repair work on this if I want to shore it up a bit. Green sticks to cork just fine, so you can always take advantage of that. If I see a piece of cork that's particularly stubborn and small, I will try to just take it out. Now I've got kind of, you can see it there. When I tilt it, you can see I've put a crack down there. And I'm going to wear that away a little bit more at the bottom. I just want to make sure that since I cut this smooth, but there's still cork texture, I'm essentially using the cork texture to accentuate the fact that this is a ruined step. There we go. So now we've got that little crack right there. So yeah, we're just, uh-oh. I'm keeping the door open so I can listen for Pupster. If I hear too much, if I hear any little howling noises, I have to go and let the puppy out. She's actually really good. As long as she's got her critical role, she's pretty good being alone. We've been working on that, especially because David was away for 5 days. And also I had to be, there were times, you know, on the road when I had to be away for a few seconds. So dogs don't naturally come with that whole, you know, being okay, being alone thing. So I've been working with her on that, and she's gotten very good. Hey, David, we're 35 months. That's impressive. Hello, hello. So now I've got a couple of little cracks that I can accentuate with paint. That's the thing to always remember, is that, you know, sculptors and the sculptors put details on the models, beautiful details, and then it's our job as painters to pick out those details. So sometimes the difference between like a bronze and a silver at ReaperCon is honestly attention to detail, which is one of our criteria, and whether you actually spent time. There we go. So you can see that crack coming down there and there. There. All right, I'm going to start getting some glue here. But yeah, paying attention to the details and bringing them out with paint. Even though they're sculpted on, that doesn't mean that you can just totally ignore them. If you want it to look really good, then spend a little extra time bringing out the details on the model that the sculptors put in. All right, do I have... Unfortunately, I removed all my little mixing trays, but I bet I have a blister top in here somewhere. I do. So when in doubt, grab one of your handy dandy plastic Reaper blister tops to mix your glue in. Alrighty. Ah! As I totally make everything go crazy. Let's see if I can get, this is old glue. I probably need to add some water to it in the gloop gloop. Ah, yep, and the top came right off. Ha ha! This is a very old broken bottle of glue. I blame David. It's his glue. Yeah, there we go. So goopy. Gloopy indeed. Ha ha. I'm in one of those moods today. So pardon me while I fix the top on this glue after I use it. Now I see why it was totally stuck together. Hold on. As I wash off my hand. Because I got glue all over it. Alright, wood glue. Gloop. Gloop. Literal gloop. Grab my random mixing brush to clean up the lid here. Well, now I know that this glue is compromised, this glue container. All right, so once I've got that, I am going to mix a little bit of water into it. Yeah, this looks terrible, doesn't it? Yeah, the pupper is definitely moving around in there. I'll probably go check on her in a second. Because since David's not up, I'm the bastion of puppy wrangling here right now. So I'm going to put 3 drops of water in there. It's probably about 5 to 1, just eyeballing it. And then I'm going to grab my mixing brush and mix it up. You can see it's kind of mucusy. That's wood glue. This is old wood glue, but it does tend to be a bit more mucusy than white glue. White glue's a little smoother. But that's why thinning this stuff's pretty good. Let me get some more water. And just continue to thin it until it gets to a consistency that you think is workable. The more water you put in it, the longer it's going to take to set up. So figure out, you know, your paint consistency or your glue consistency that you want. You don't want it to be too gloopy because you want it to be able to be spread over the surface. That's pretty good. So I kind of want to see it flow. Like when I'm looking at it, I kind of almost want to see it paint consistency. See how it goes back together there? It's self-leveling. That's perfect. That's what I want. So it's still a little bit stiff, so it's going to have adhesive properties, but it's a lot more flowing. Yup. Yeah, well, you know, mucus has been my world for the last couple days, Quindy. Between the puppy and the David. I know, it's gross. Sorry, not sorry. Ah, yay. So yeah, we're doing this the slow way to get today, guys. Instead of just throwing super glue at the model and stuff. We're actually, and the nice thing about doing it the slow way, by the way, is that you can get much more natural effects with your stone, with your gravel and stuff. I'm pretty sure the pupper's going to be just fine because she's she was taken out, and she's old enough to hold it for a couple of, yeah, yep, yeah, and I had a puppy with a butt condition, so, and a sick fiance. A con-crudded fiance. Did the rest of you emerge from ReaperCon healthy? Or did anybody else on stream get some crud? There we go. And of course, the other problem is that I've been, because of the stress of just having a sick puppy, being all alone, like the long road trip, everything else, my guts have been really upset too. So I'm not feeling it 100% either. All right, so we want to do fine sand first and bigger sand. I'm going to build up the bigger sand, bigger chunks, I think. Or do we want to do, Let me get some, there we go. I think I've got mostly fine sand. I do love my little trough. This is just a piece of watercolor paper that I cut that is very useful for applying more precisely the gravel. I think I'm going to put this over here for a second. It lets me scoop out like really fine gravel. So I'm going to put my white lid under here. I'm going to get my glue. Glue can be put on with anything. Silicone sculpting tool can work because it's easy to wipe off. You can use a brush, you can use whatever. It's white glue, since it's thinnable with water, it's not going to be really hazardous to use. I think I'm going to use a brush today because the consistency on this is pretty good. Oh, geez, Gary Michael, sorry about that. David tested for Rona, and he's negative, so I think it was just plague, the normal plague, you know. We're back to an age where regular con crud can exist in. So I'm going to take a big drop and just kind of glob it into that area where I want to suggest that there's crumbling rock. The other nice thing about working with the glue, this glue instead of super glue, is that because it takes longer to dry, because it means it's workable. It means when I put gravel down, I don't have to like rush and make sure it's like positioned perfectly straight out the gate. I can shove it around. I hear wookie noises. I was hoping the pupper would just like stay down and rest, but I may need to go and do some stuff with her. All right, so there's our first layer. And if I want to, this is the great part, I just push it around with my knife. Now, if you want that nice kind of gradient where the sand kind of trails off, then you don't want to do this too much because it's that fine edge that you're really looking for. But if you really want to bunch up your rocks and move them around, it's much easier to do when you're using the thinned wood glue or white glue than if you are using super glue. Super glue, you've got a very, very finite time to work with it, and once you put it in place, you're screwed. Ha! I bet the cats think it should be that way forever. I'm going to put another layer. Now, you can do this with super glue too, where you layer it on top of layer after layer. I'm going to put a little bit more out here, up to there. You can also precisely apply this without being in a hurry. Like with super glue, you're always kind of gooking up a tool in order to precisely apply it. And if you do manage to get some bigger rocks in your little scoop of scoop applicator, now also, then you can easily take them off with the tweezers or whatever here. So I'm going to tap this a little bit. Tap, tap, tap. I do this with static grass too. It'll essentially make the gravel settle down into the glue a little nicer. So we're building up kind of a fall of stones. Slowly. I'm going to grab a couple of a little bit of bigger stuff. Uh-oh. I hear puppies playing. I may need to take a break and take the little dingo out. Yeah, I'm hearing some whinies now. Okay, it may be dingo out time. She's still having a bit of runny butt, so let me just get this next layer on with larger rocks, and then I'll go over and do that, and you guys can hang out and chat about things until I come back. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue here. And if I want to, I could get a tweezers or any kind of applicator where I could grab a stone. I seem to be out of everything because David has stolen all my stuff. This is typical. That's the problem with having a hobby relationship. Everything is fair game. I'm going to just put a couple of bigger rocks in there. Now, once I have those couple of bigger rocks, I can do exactly what I did with the super glue and just kind of grab a big glob of glue and apply it. This is where having your glue thinned is a good strategy, because it lets you get that capillary action that goes behind and among the rocks, and it lets you kind of bury them in goo and get them set up. Now, I did bury my crack that I started there inadvertently, but I just decided I liked this look, so we're just going to go with it. I've got a little bit of gravel on her foot, but again, with white glue, there's no big risk there, right? Yeah, there we go, and I'll pop that up there. And you can just play with it until you kind of get it into a situation where you like. And then once I've got those big rocks settled in, I could go in, once that's set, I can go in with another layer of finer sand and make kind of a build-up, make a build-up right here to transition from this level of really thin sand up into this. So I'm going to pop the glue up there, and I'm going to set that, and I'm going to take my dingo out and probably bring the dingo in here with me since she's, although maybe not because she actually, I don't have a fan in here right now. We'll see. We'll see. So Quindy, short puppy break. We're going to have a short puppy break. Let me see if I can balance this where it's visible. There we go. Hopefully that stays. If it doesn't stay, it's not my fault. Well, yeah, there we go. I'm going to prop it up against a thing. There we go. So there we are. That's what we're working on. Puppy break. Yes, I've got a whiny puppy I got to take out. And then I'll bring her in here. Okay. Be right back, guys. Hi there, wake up puppy. Are you an awake puppy? Oh, did you see your robe? Is that why you're all silly? Hold on, Jamie. I'm going to put your thing in here. Be right back and I'll take you out. I swear, like, getting ready to move a puppy is like getting ready to move an army. Set up the fan, get the toys in, listen to the howling dingo in the background, and I'll be right back, guys. Also, the fan, there'll be a slight fan background noise since I've got her here. But I'm going to let her out. I'll be right back. All right, Papa. Yeah, come on. All right, quick, please. Good girl. Oh my gosh, the bag of chicken. The bag of chicken is magical. All right, I'm going to put this in the fridge and wash my hands so I'm not chickening out my mini, and then I will be immediately back. Hold on, Pupper. whiny. I'm coming in. But you have to be good. Yeah, are you going to let them hear you squeak? All right, squeaky puppy. We're back. Yeah? You have an eye booger again. There, I've got your eye booger. Hi. Hi, Fiend. Hello, little demon dog. Yeah, the demon dog's awake. Hold on, let me get the puppy cam ready. Hey. Hey, demon dog. Hi. Do you want to say hi? Let's say hi to the stream. Yay! Yep, we want to chew on mom. We want to wag. We want to chew on mom. Oh, no, No noms. Kisses, kisses. No, the dingo face. Good girl. Good sit. Yes, now we get paid attention to. All right. Here we go. Got to make sure all cords are removed from puppy vicinity. No, you're not going to get on the camera again. You're not going to get on camera again. Hi. Hi, Wags. Hi, Wags. Okay, now you got to settle down. This is normally your nap time. What is with this? What is with? There. Now you have a fan. You have a mama. Hi. Good girl. All right. Squeaky Kiki. Yes, indeed. Hi, Fuzzbutt. So cute and so nippy. Although, actually, she hasn't, except for when I had to give her meds. Not yesterday. I don't think she's tagged me in a day. But when I first had to give her the meds that she had before, she did actually. And that's when you've got a baby puppy who's all fangs that you're gonna get tagged. And I think the important thing to remember is just that she's a baby and she's just, you know, she's not being bad. More dog cam. Are you being a good girl, Papa? You gonna be good? I've got Dragon over here and Squirrel. Yeah, you've got 2 squeaky toys. You could totally disrupt the stream with the squeaky toys, should you so choose. Yeah, Dragon. You should get Dragon. That's right, get him. Find the squeaker. Find the squeaker. Kiki is on meds and getting better. I mean, she's never really lost her energy. That's why I wasn't like too worried, but I didn't want to wait. She's got a vet appointment later today, which is her basic checkup. But yeah, you just missed the puppy cam, Kodiak. I just had. She's awake, and so she's being a dingo. Hi, Dingo. How you doing? Settle down. Settle down, Dingo Kiki. Yeah, you gotta settle. I didn't bring you in here so you could be a dork. I mean, I know you're gonna be a dork anyway. She's gonna be taller, like tall enough that I'm gonna have to put a real crate in here soon. Good girl. Oh, the grumbles. She's like, no, I want to play with you. No, I want to play with you. Oh no, I guess I'll sit down in front of the fan. Yeah, I know, right? It's not playtime yet, Dingo. Teaching dogs how to paint. Yeah, if I put paint on the ground, I'm pretty sure she'd get her paws in it. I'm pretty sure it would end up everywhere. Whether that's art is debatable. But if cats can paint, why not dogs? What's up, pupper? No, no, no. Young lady. I may need to reposition some things. I can see that right now. She's getting tall enough that she can reach things. 1 second, everybody. 1 second. Pop. Settle. Yeah, you're going to hear Kiki talking. And the problem is I don't know if she actually needs to poop and she just didn't when we went outside, or if she's just being a dork. You just being a dork? No. Yeah, you got to hear the mouthy Kiki. Welcome, guys. Welcome to my world. So I'm going to ignore her because we don't get anything for being that. We don't get any attention. Squeaking. She found the squeaker. But yes, barking does not get us any attention. That's the first rule. We get ignored. Nope. Nope. Good girl, good settle. Good girl. But yeah, so we're gonna continue our yes, just be ready to have me ignore her, because when she will bark, and I want to cut that habit right off at the pass by not giving her any attention when she does. So she does have a voice for sure. So let's apply some of this glue. And just like with paint, guys, as I'm working with this, if I see it starting to kind of solidify, because it is going to evaporate and start to dry, I'm going to just pop another drop of water or two into it. And especially because I'm spreading it so thin in this, because I chose to do it in a blister top, and I didn't have one of my smaller cups. So I'm going to essentially just plop a little extra water in this to make sure it stays at the consistency I want. And always, the test for that is always going to be, just like I showed you, it's always going to be to drag the paintbrush through and make sure that that canyon that I open up there is like closing up like that, self-leveling. That's also the consistency I want for my base coats, by the way. This is glue. This is wood glue, Kodiak. We're working with wood glue today. Good girl, Pupper. One second. Let me dig out a toy. I want a toy. I want a toy for a distractor. There. But yeah, we're using wood glue with, and I'm thinning it. Yeah, Julie and Bob are awesome. I got a kit from them too. Here, should I show you guys my presents? Here, let's put on gravel, and then we can talk presents. Because Julie and Bob are awesome, and Julie had presents for me. Oh, and I was looking through the Reaper store yesterday to find a good Bob mini, because we haven't painted a Bob mini on the stream. So we're gonna paint a mini from Mr. Dolphy as well coming up, because I'm essentially gonna try, and I'm actually gonna put this little bit of sand over the top of that. There. And knock it around just a little bit. And now what we can do, and what I want to do, is if I see anywhere where capillary action is pulling the gravel up over the top of the sides of these bigger stones, I'm going to try to pull that down. Get those little gravels off of the top of the stone. I want them up against the stones because I want those bigger stones to look buried, as if this is a natural fall. There. And it's really easy to do this with wood or PVA glue. It's just, you know, you usually want to keep your bottom layer, have your bottom layer dry before you do this, so you're not like constantly moving your bigger stones like I am right now. But on the stream, we're kind of limited, and we've got to move a little faster than I would ideally. Ideally, I would leave that initial coating to let these big stones really get settled in, and then I would put on this additional layer. But essentially, I just don't want, I want these bigger stones to appear to be semi-buried, just like they would be in nature. And I don't want a bunch of little bits of sand kind of clinging to the top of the surface. So that one's ideal right there. That's really good. And these other medium ones can be just around. All right, so we've got that set, and I've got it looking like this now. You can still see a little bit of the glue. I've left that in. Most of the glue, though, at this point is being kind of locked in place by the sand. And that will set, you know, everything will set up very nicely here. Now, white glue, especially since I've added water, this will shrink slightly as it dries. That's fine. It's just going to kind of slurp everything down. And then I can see at the end if there are any, like, pits and stuff. But yeah, Bob and Julie are really awesome people. Also, apparently, like, Gene was, like, flabbergasted that I had painted, that I decided to give him a bust. So I didn't think about it. I was just like, I really like this model, and Gene sculpted it, so I'm going to give it to Gene. And so yeah, he was super happy. So that's really good. So David got to have the happiness of giving away all my presents for me since I wasn't there. Also, just for the record, it was Rhonda's suggestion to have Lovejoy do interpretive dance. Rhonda's, but I did vote for it. So you can blame me during the award ceremony. I mean, you could blame me partially, but blame Rhonda more. I have the email to prove it, I believe. I believe it was Rhonda. All right, so we're gonna set that up, and let's, here, I'll show you the presents that Julie and Bob made me. So we have a couple of little sanding things, little sanding circles. So you have a little sanding foam, which is great because this side can be a texture tool, and so can this side. This is just a coarser texture. And then this is also a texture stamp right here. So you see, this is pretty cool because it's like sandpaper, but it's been coated to give it a little, so you can see the texture. So this is a great, if I want to do green stuff, using this as a stamp when the green stuff is semi-set up. You don't want it to be, really, really sticky when you put this on. Yes, the dancing banana was ridiculous. Yes, exactly. David was giving me the blow-by-blow also. But it was, yeah, it was just. Yes, I believe that I don't remember, like somebody said that Derek needed different lovely assistants, and Rhonda said, I think Aaron needs to be on stage doing interpretive dance. And I was like, I absolutely vote in favor of Aaron being on stage doing interpretive dance. The banana costume was their idea, right? Not us. Was not us. Hold on, let me see if the puppy's in trouble. Nope. She's just tucked up as close to the fan as she can get. So I'm going to move the fan closer. Here you go, pupper. No, I'm just moving the fan closer. You're good. So, and then in addition to the cool texture stamps, oh, and this is nice too because if you look, it's cut into a shape. So that also can be a texture stamp. So all of this is really cool. This is fantastic. So we'll have to use those for bases, guys, coming up. You doing okay? You've got your squirrel. Good. So I got 2 sculpting tools from Julie, and it's pretty cool. This one's hooky. So little fine like hook things. This can be good for just like pulling. And this one can be good for pressing either down or for poking tiny holes. So they're very different shapes. These are handmade by Julie Guthrie and Bob. Really cool. So it's a bit of, I believe, steel like sunk into a brass rod and then into the plastic holder. Really cool with green stuff to attach it. So you see, you can make your own sculpting tools. Pupper. Really? Really? I think I'm gonna, I don't really want to give her an ice cube in here, sadly. Up, what you doing? Being dorky, Mom, because it gets me attention. And then we've got our spade tool here. And this is a fairly common shape for a tool for sculpting. It's most often used for forming folds in cloth. So you can use the back or the front to kind of pull the green and kind of pull out the folds. So that's pretty cool. And then the other side is it's not a tiny spoon, but it's a moderate spoon. So now we have 3 sizes of spoon, and this spoon also has a little bit of a pointy tip, which is not bad because often you're using the tiny spoon to kind of cut or poke in areas into the green, and then you're using the side as well. So this is actually a very useful shape. Yeah, so this is like moderate spoon to go with tiny spoons. Now here we have, we're going to line up our spoons. Pardon us. Where's our big spoon? Big spoon, giant spoon. There you are. So now guys, we have all the spoons. Like, we've got all the spoons. Spoons. And I love spoons as sculpting tools. Like, they are my favorite shape to work with. I use spoons for everything. So yes, we now have awesome spoon tools. Thanks to Bob and Julie giving me awesome sculpting tools to play with. Handmade sculpting tools are the best because, you know, we're using these, and there are definitely shapes, like I use both shapes on this one a lot. But, you know, you're stuck with whatever size the old accidental tools come in, right? And for miniatures, you're often looking for smaller tools. So if you are lucky and can score some handmade ones or make some yourself out of brass rod, I mean, that's tops. That's really tops. So I'm going to put these guys all carefully back in the bag so I don't lose them. And I'll put tiny spoon with them, and I'll put those guys in. And that's the present I got from Bob and Julie. And the puppy dingo is playing with her squirrel. Okay. Yeah. Sweet. So yeah, that was really cool. That was a really nice surprise. And I believe I sent Julie my logo. So I'm not gonna look at you if you're doing that shit or stuff. Quiet puppies get attention though. Come here, quiet puppy. No? You just want me to stare at you? What? She's just staring at me. She's like, what? If you wanted to be with Matt Mercer in the other room, you should have just stayed quiet in there. This is dingo. Total dingo, guys. This is what I deal with. Oh, she's a big puppy, Valandar. That's the thing, right? And she is large. Large and in charge. Somewhere between. She's underweight for her age because of the issue we had. Like, she just wasn't eating enough. But I expect she'll be 30 pounds in no time. And we don't know how big she's going to be at adulthood because of the outcross blood in her, where she's not 100% Shiloh Shepherd. Yeah, so she could be anything from like somewhere like in the, I think Embark had her at 67 pounds adult, I think by DNA, but the Embark DNA is notoriously suspect for size genes because I'm sure they don't have everything factored in. They just have a succession. Well, her grandma Faylin was like 120 pounds and like 30 inches for a girl, which is massive. And her grandfather Lobo was 31 inch male. So so she has a shot, but I don't think so. Her build's a little lighter. Like her brother. Oh, I should show you guys the really cool picture. I think I showed it maybe a little bit. I can't remember. I've honestly slept since then. I'm so much better on the sleep front right now. I'm going to put my a little bit of gravel here, and then I'll show you guys a really cool picture. There's a really cool composite picture we put together of all the puppies in this litter. So I'm going to put this over here. And once again, I'm going to use my little scoop to just kind of selectively throw some gravel on there. And I'm going to tap, 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 tap. And that just helps the gravel settle down into the glue. And then you can tap it off to get your loose gravel off. You can blow on it a little bit if you want. And that's just building up a really natural looking gravel fall there. And like the stone has been crumbling for a long time, and that crack that we put in there is still visible, so I like it. So I'm going to do that. Let me put her here. Let me show you the cool picture. Let me get this sucker. This glue is just like, there we go. This glue is very hard to work with, Kiki. Your daddy really screwed up that glue. We thought about using something like a Saint for an outcross. I don't know if we will at any point. Maybe. One second. Let me see if I've got... I think it's on the Facebooks. The Book of Faces. Alrighty. Let's see. Ah, there we go. So here is the original F1 litter. So this is the original half Shiloh and half Poodle Wetterhound. So the sire is half Poodle and half Wetterhound from the Wetterhound's own outcrossing project, and then the other half was Phelan, who's a full Shiloh. So Floyd, who is my puppy's daddy, is right there. So you can see right away that the rest of these dogs look more poodly, right? And Floyd looks a lot more like the Wetterhound, which is a water dog retriever type dog. It still has a curly coat, but yeah. So we got a lot of different phenotypes out of this. And so Floyd was used. And he also had smaller ears, and he had, didn't have the poodle coat, so that was something we like. Yeah, you can see the poodle in a lot of these, but Floyd did not have the poodle coat. He has a bit of wave from the Wetterhound, but he's good. And then I think further on in here, I want to say that she did. There's the composite. So then Bridget had Cynthia, who's one of our breeders in training, and she's also a professional photographer, take all the puppies from this litter and make the same kind of composite. So you can see how there are a couple of pups that look like Floyd as a puppy, especially Pike there. Looks a lot like Floyd. Yeah, he does, doesn't he? But look at this pup. Look at the foreleg width. See how massive those forelegs are? Like, all these pictures were taken at the same range, like the same, distance away. So that's Vax. And he, I suspect, is going to be the heaviest boned pup. You can see how his width is compared to the others. I mean, the black dogs obviously are going to look a little slimmer boned because like that. But look at those massive forelegs. So if I had to guess that one of these puppies was going to end up at 100 pounds or so, if his bone really stays, because it's bone and it's also width of body, if he has both of those and they stay to adulthood, he's going to be the big boy. Even if he's short, he's going to be heavier. So there's Vex, my favorite. Her new name is Minnow, guys. It's such a cute name. She's such a little spunky bunk. And then we have Grog. Grog also has pretty decent bone, but not like his brother. And then there's Kiki right there. And then there's Scanlan. Scanlan's just irrepressible. So yeah, Minnow is a great name. So there's Keeks. So yeah, so we can see Keeks looking all serious for her school photo. You can see though that her legs are slimmer, and bone is hard to predict, but often that will mean she's going to be a little lighter build. And if that comes through, then she won't weigh as much, right? So we'll see. But yeah, I love this picture because you can really see like some pups really like kind of hold to their dad's type, and some pups like Kiki looks a lot like a Shiloh. Vex looks a lot like a Shiloh. Even Scanlan, if he was a different color, I think he'd look a lot like a Shiloh. I don't know if anybody else has changed names. There's your puppy bark for the morning. You're supposed to be sleeping. She's like, screw my schedule. No routine for you, Mama. What are you doing? She's just on her back being a dingo. She's just playing. You're such a silly doglet. How silly are you, doglet? You are the silliest doglet ever. And I'm totally getting these wires and cords and everything, making sure they're far away from your crate corner. All right. It's going to look that way, Kerniko. And I suspect also that with those black dogs, with the black puppies, if they had coloration like a typical Shiloh, like Kiki, I think they'd look a lot more like Shilohs. But remember, these pups are 75% Shiloh, so you're going to see that type come through. I mean, even with when we get solid black and solid white puppies that are full Shiloh, they can look like a little less Shiloh because they don't have that sable or dual coloring. Oh, there we go. Thanks for the assist there, Quindy. All right, so I am going to put some bigger rocks in on this side as well. That's what we're looking at. I want it to look like the other side. I may specifically place them in a couple of areas. We'll see. I'm going to get a couple of bigger rocks on my scoop. So a little bit of bigger stones. I'm going to shake them back a little bit in the scoop so that I can set this down without losing them. I really like my little scoop. All right, and then we're going to get some glue. And we've got a puppy trying to climb her crate. And she needs to settle down, so we're kind of going to ignore her a bit. Yeah, Pup. What are you doing? You want Mama to play with you. I know. That's the problem with people-focused dogs, folks. It means high maintenance. Well, there's a very large stone in here. I think I'm going to save that one for later. So I'm going to grab that big stone. There's one really big stone in here. It's right there. So I'm going to save that for down here on the base. Settle, please, dingo. And we're going to pop those bigger rocks here. And we're going to grab our brush again. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to the teeth coming in and the dingoette here. Although if we can stabilize her gut, then at least I can give her things like bully sticks for teething time, which will be good. And she hasn't really, this is the sad thing about her existence as a puppy so far, guys. She hasn't really had any like good treats or funky stuff because her gut's been so upset. I have been keeping her on a really simple diet. So, good girl. Get that dragon. She has a dragon toy because my puppies are nerds. But, weird twistedoma. Yeah. So once I've got this glue in here, then I can kind of shift these rocks around. Once again, this glue is going to shrink. You can see how it's kind of pulled back in here. And if I turn it, you can see that that's actually a really nice, like, natural looking deadfall kind of area. I've also got a couple of bigger rocks that went over here, so I'm going to scooch. I'm going to keep that one in the middle. That one's kind of placed nicely. So let me get this one over here. And I'm going to get some glue. And I'm going to look at a dingo puppy. She's just so dingo-y. She's going to outgrow this playpen so fast now that she's actually eating. Like, I'm going to have to figure out, like, the puppy, there we go. That's nice in there. That's great. This is looking pretty good. And I think I want, that's looking pretty okay. Yeah. I've got a hole kind of in here where I could put another stone. So while I have some glue on my brush, I can just reach in and see if I can pick one up. And there it is, right on the end of my brush. And I can just pop that stone right in there. And I can get some more glue. Pop that right in there. Remember, the glue helps to kind of fill cracks and makes a nicer kind of gradient as far as the slope goes on all this. So helps fill in the gaps between rocks a little bit. So there we are with that. Looking good. So you can see that it takes a lot longer to do this with the wood glue, but you also get to be a lot more precise, and you get to really try to make it look natural, which with super glue, you're kind of throwing it all together, and then you're using usually grass or vegetation to kind of disguise any flaws in what you've done. Yes, she has meds. She picked up a bug from when we were on the road, and now she has the probiotics. She's on Albon right now. Oh, I have to share. Okay, this dog is a mutant, guys. Like, she's totally a mutant. I kind of thought she was a mutant, but now I know. So Albon is this yellow antibiotic goo that I've given to my dogs so often in the past. Like, it's kind of what they throw at you, you know, if you've got any kind of thing. Yeah. Well, and it's all like, do you want it to look natural, right, Kernico? To throw sand at it, because I do that too. Hey there, Bryce. How's it going? Did you have a good ReaperCon? But so okay, so puppies on Albon. It's a yellow goo. It comes in, you put it in a fat syringe and you have to syringe it into your dog's mouth, which usually involves holding your dog's mouth open because your dog doesn't want to eat it, right? It's goo. So I get out the goo, and Kiki's super interested in the syringe, so I let her sniff it before I, move in to try to get it in her mouth, and it's a lot of it too, because the first dose is like 8 milliliters. It's a lot of goo. And she starts licking the end of the syringe. I'm like, seriously? So I squeeze out a little bit, and she eats it. And I squeeze out more, and she eats it. She's sitting here, like, just happily eating her probiotic goo that I have had to force down the throat of every single dog that I have ever had in the past. She happily ate 5 to 6 milliliters of it, and then I just had to go, do a quick squirt on the rest. Like, ridiculous dog. Yeah, you paint over it, Twistoma. I always paint over my basing. I'm going to change the color of, this is going to be a different color, obviously. Like, yeah, this is a good natural color for, like, a desert base, but you still always want to paint your basing, because if you don't, it just kind of looks weird and out of scale next to your figure. So, like, yeah, it's a natural color for a desert, but with all of the way we've brought out all the shadows and highlights here, this looks like it doesn't fit. So you always have to paint over your basing. And wood glue is no different from PVA glue, like, or Elmer's. You can absolutely paint over it. You should paint over it. You can also, as I mentioned earlier, if you're doing a terrain board or a big diorama, you can also use a thin layer of this wood glue mixed with water to put a thin layer over your entire board or entire ground. And because it dries matte, it's, you know, and it dries translucent as well, it's going to be fine. And then you paint over the, you know, you can either paint over it and then put a finishing layer on, or you can do it the other way around, depends on what you want. Either way, it's going to help as it'll give a layer of durability to your basing. I've never had an animal take. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm glad that David went too, although he's got con crud now, Bryce. It's like paybacks. Leave me alone with the dingo, will you? So yeah, he's still in bed. Like, he called in. Hey, Dogfather. I appreciate you giving David a Dogfather ribbon to be his, since he is now a dog dad for the first time in his life. He even saved it. He didn't put it on his badge. He actually saved it. So yeah, he's officially a dog father now. But now we also need dog mom ribbons. I want dog mom ribbons too. Maybe I'll have to do that one. Oh, weird, Valandar. Yeah. Ralph is also a mutant. I've never had a dog just eat the antibiotic goo. Like, I'm like, oh wow. Because the worming goo, oh, that was a big nope. But the antibiotic goo, we're fine. It's just crazy. I mean, I'm glad she won't have a bad association with it, and she'll be like, okay, yeah. So I'm like, whatever. So weird. The puppy got meds, yeah. She picked up a bug on the road that was giving her diarrhea, Dogfather, and it got bad enough that I took her to the emergency vet on Saturday. Because, you know, with puppies, diarrhea can be dangerous if it gets bad. And we were trying to hold out till our normal vet appointment, but they couldn't get us in till today. And Saturday was bad, so I actually ended up like, ugh. You know, you guys don't want to know the bill. The bill was bad. Like, I need to stream again. I need to get my Twitch up again. Pay offset puppy expenses. Holy crap. This has been the most expensive puppy in existence so far. Ah, okay. Yeah, my cat Panther, Mama-san's son, actually liked playing fetch when he was younger. All right, I've got this extra big rock that I saved that I kind of like, so I'm going to put it actually down here on the base. Since we did this kind of crumble and this kind of texture up here, it's important that we carry it over onto the base and the space that we've got here. It'll help to add like the feeling of it being like, you know, all in line with each other. It's made of the same thing. It's suffered the same weathering, that kind of thing. So I'm going to get my wood glue and I'm going to pop a nice big blob down here. Blob. Right there in that corner where I want that big rock to go. The other nice thing about wood glue is if you've got a lot of it on your brush, you can just kind of set your brush aside and not deal with it right away if you need to. But I'm actually going to use it to pick up this rock, because if you have a nice big blob of glue, you can just do this and then place it. And if you get a little glue on the rock, it doesn't matter, because I'm probably going to bury the rock a little bit anyway. So let me get a nice big glob of glue. And as mentioned, although it looks like the glue is really filling in stuff, as it dries, the glue will shrink, especially because I have it mixed like pretty significantly with water at this point. So this will not all stay puddled. If I want there to be like kind of a surface kind of showing that the rock is a little bit buried, then I'm going to want to bring in gravel, like a finer gravel, which I can do. I'm going to bring in a little bit of this and that. Now, the other nice thing about wood glue, you know, it depends. Usually not Kodiak. I'm weird though, like, I don't know, every painter does this differently. A lot of painters will prepare the base and the mini, prep the mini, and then put the whole thing together when it's just primed. Like, and so that way they can paint the base organically with the figure. But with me, honestly, it takes me so long to come up, with most minis, so long to come up with a good basing concept. Like, this is how I want this to look. This is where this model is. Like, sometimes I have a concept out the door, but often I don't really have that concept. Like, here I had to think about it a long time with her on how I wanted to do her base. So I just don't have ideas for my base right at the start of the mini, so I don't do it that way. But yes, I could have like built this out without her on it, but I often find it useful also to have a feeling for where, like for the composition of the piece, like putting this nice big rock down here, I can put some grass right around it, like some tall grass, and it'll help to like make some compositional, like it'll help with the compositional elements. So I kind of like to kind of work the basing with the figure in mind, I guess, and do that kind of thing. Oh, she was never sad, Pendrake. Like, her butt was sad, but the rest of Kiki was bouncy. Like, that's why I held off so long taking her in, because I was like, you have, like, soft stools or pudding stools, but you're, you know, she was bouncy, she was happy, you know, her eyes were clear, her energy was great, so she was fine. Eric, I just go by, actually, I don't thin it like a specific consistency, I thin it to sight, so essentially now it's time to throw some more water into it. So I'll show you what test I do. I was showing that earlier. This is wood glue, by the way, and it's old wood glue, so it was quite thick when I got it out of the bottle. So when I've got a nice puddle here, I want to pull my brush through it and have that line that I make close up again right away. Like, that's about the right. This is maybe a little thin, but I want to see that line when I drag my brush through it. I want to see it close right away, and that's the same consistency I want with my base coat paint. Because what that means is the paint is self-leveling, and that means it's going to do that same thing when you put it on your figure. So for this, it's nice because it means the glue isn't going to leave globs or texture. It's just going to kind of level out and set down and sit around the gravel, which is what I want. If I had to guess, I'd say this may be thinned as much as 1:1, but maybe a 2:1 glue to water is more likely. But I've been adding water to keep it good since I'm using a blister for it. Like I said, it's very old carpenter's glue, wood glue, so it was very thick, and so I had to thin it more than, say, fresh glue. Yeah, my emergency vet tab was pretty darn pricey for Nico. But I was so, like, David was gone. I've been alone with this puppy who's sick, and I'm stressing the heck out, and it's affecting my health, and so something had to be done. Something had to be done. So I took the financial hit, so that I could get myself back on a decent keel. Stress really affects I have Crohn's, so it really affects my guts pretty heavily, and I was super stressed while David was gone. Now that he's back, even though he's sick, it's still better, because at least I have someone else to puppy wrangle. Oh, this brush is like a sable that was a crap sable, like a $4 sable. It's like a quote-unquote Winsor Newton Professional Watercolor sable, but that just means it's a crap sable. I got it on sale for $4, so I've sacrificed it to all things. It's my mixing brush. But yeah, I mean, I would use a synthetic, but I actually like a crappy sable for this particular exercise because it lets me more precisely put the glue down. A synthetic will do the poof thing where it gets really spread out, and that's not as good for like placing the glue more where I want it. So yeah. But yeah, no, she was feeling fine except for her tail end. But something had to be done. So yeah, she's had her first full day of meds, and she'll have another one tonight. It's already helping a ton, so very happy, and we'll just keep giving her that stuff. Then I get some of my small sand, and really I'm just kind of like moving my sand around until I get like a space where I can see that's mostly small sand, and then that's where I scoop up. If I want big rocks, I scoop around the edges. This is just the Games Workshop sand and gravel mix, but you can also mix something like this with like woodland scenic sand and stuff like that. So I've let this is set up a bit down here, so let's see how well it goes. The glue has started to set up, so I'm going to tap it. Tap, 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 tap. I want the sand to settle in to the glue. Then I want to tap it again to get it off. Now I'm going to use my brush or a knife, depending on what I think I need, to just clean these little bits of gravel off the top of this big stone that I wanted to keep. Yeah, cool, Kodiak. Oh yeah, but just the antibiotic, just the Albon cost me $87 yesterday, and that wasn't like the vet visit was in the multi-hundreds. It was bad, but what was I gonna do? Like it was bad, folks. So When you see it, what we call it's not a shoggoth, it's a dogoth. When it comes out of your dog's butt, you just go to the vet. Because you know at that point it could only get worse. And you're just like, I don't want it to get worse. But yeah, especially with the young pupper, she just has not been eating as much as she should. So that's really nice. Like letting the glue set up a little bit and then putting the gravel down around it has given us a beautiful, just really like the rock is embedded naturally in the landscape. You can see that it's it looks like it's buried and it has been just gradually unearthed. Or maybe it fell off of our cork bit and then it was surrounded with lighter scree. So yeah, sometimes you just pay the money, like, to get your puppy happier. I would not have been okay waiting an extra 3 days. Like, no way. Like, at that point, if I had waited until our vet visit today, we'd still have to wait another 2 days to get, like, the fecal back, and that would have been, like, she would have been, no. Nope. I am a paranoid, proud card-carrying member of the Paranoid Pet Owners Club, so when in doubt, go to the vet. It's there. I'll just spend the money. Alright, so I'm going to use my fingernail. The other nice thing about the wood glue is it's very much easier to get off. If you get it up on your base a little bit, it's really easy to scrape off with your thumbnail. It's still a little bit tacky, so I'll wait. But if it dries on there, you can easily scrape it off. So yeah, so this is looking very nice indeed. Let's see, let's look at it. So I could use a little bit more sand right down here in front because it looks so weird just to have those rocks without a little bit of sand down in front of them. So I'm going to do that next. And yeah, as you can see, this takes a little longer, but it's really giving us a really nice natural look, and you can take your time. And as you go, kind of plan, like in this little hole here, I'm totally going to put like some vegetation. Weeds and stuff growing up out of there, and probably also here we'll have some weeds kind of coming up out of this. I've been heavily hitting David's moss collection. He's not going to have any left by the time I'm done. Paranoid pet owners unite. Yep. Yeah, you know what? Hairball control food. Like, I don't own a cat anymore, but that was a freaking game changer, the hairball control food. Like, Panther went from, like, serious hairballs every day to, like, hairball maybe once a week. Like, it was so worth it. Oh my gosh. I had forgotten about the hairball stuff. Alright. Let us put a little bit of glue down here in front, and then we can add a little bit of... Yeah, if you look on Amazon, you can get a surprising number of the Kolinsky Sable brands on there. Winsor Newton, usually you can get. No problem. I've noticed that Da Vinci and Raphael are a little harder to get sometimes, depending on sizes. Although I'm really excited to start using it, but I just got a size 2 Da Vinci. I was showing you the other day. It's a fresh brush. Fresh, so fresh. And it's so different, like the size differential here is pretty huge. So I've got a relatively new Da Vinci Maestro. I got these from Dick Blick because I have a Dick Blick gift certificate I had to use up. But yeah, they're Series 10, size 1 and size 2. And you can see the difference in size is substantial. So that's how the sizes kind of go up. There's less difference in some of the smaller sizes going from stage to stage. But yeah, so I'm very excited to use this too because it's kind of like my Raphael's, but it's a little bit fatter toward the tip. I like that a little bit more, I think, than the super narrow tip, so I'm really excited to start using this one. But yeah, this is their standard round, so you can see it's got a decent belly on it. Comparing it to my Raphael, let's just go ahead and do that. Why not, right? So my size 1, 8408, which is the narrow, the pointed round, here's the difference. Look at that. So the Raphael's the one on the left, and both have great tips, but notice the taper on this one, and this one tends to go like really, look at how thin it gets toward the tip. I'm turning it because they've both gotten wetted, and at certain angles you can see how you can shape the tip to be very similar, but this one in general, that pointed round means a very long, fine tip. And so if you're using really thin paint, this can be a very good brush to use, but because it's bigger, you have to make sure to only dip a little bit of it in there or you're going to be unloading for forever. So I do like the Raphaels. I go back and forth. Obviously, this one is my workhorse. You can see that it's very slim. And this is just a thing that is specific to the Da Vinci Series 10 size 1. It just doesn't have as much of a belly on it. It's a little slimmer. And so for my paint style, where I'm always using really thin paint for the most part, this is perfect because the lack of a belly is actually an asset when you're working with very thin paint. So yeah, just a quick brush comparison for you there. But yeah, like you should be able to find the Winsor Newton Series 7s on Amazon pretty easily. And hey, that's, you know, also free shipping if you're a Prime member, which is awesome. All right, let's get back to our mini and get some glue on there. Kiki and I are working on nail trimming right now. Like, I have never, guys, I feel like everything that I've ever done, like, and every dog I've ever had has led up to this dog. Like, I'm, like, being really good, and maybe it's probably because I just have one, right, which is really nice after having many. But I'm really teaching her, like, every day I handle every aspect of Kiki. Like, she gets her tail brushed, she gets her feet handled, she gets her ears handled, her mouth handled. You know, she gets eye boogers taken off. She gets like every part of Kiki gets handled, like including the butt end, because you know you have to be able to vets have to be able to do things with the butt end. So every day. So hopefully in like 6 to 8 months, this will result in a dog that will let me trim her nails no problem, will let me handle any aspect of her no problem, will be a dream at the vet's office, right? It's work, but I'm really excited about being able to do it with her. Like, I've learned. Alrighty, so we got a little bit of, just a little bit of gravel in there, so that's great. I've still got a nice flat space here to work a rune in, which is nice. So we can do a painted rune that's glowing on the surface. That's beautiful. And now we can work our way around. Oh my god, it's 11:11 already. Well, we'll just do this part then. I think the back is pretty flush, so I think I'm going to be okay back here. But we'll do the glue up front. That way, the next time we see this model, we can actually start painting her base. Probably start and finish. Yeah, the Kiki Dingo is asleep now. Normally she like goes down at like 9:15 and she just sleeps till 11. Today she's much more sprightly. I wonder if it's because she's feeling better on the medication. Yep. Yeah, before I started doing a bunch of other stuff, I wanted to do time check too. So let me just get my sand going on here. Again, making my scoop here was really easy. I'm just going to get this over. You see I pooled the glue, then our scoop goes in there. It just lets us kind of target where we're putting it. That way I used to just dip it into the sand and gravel, but then I didn't have any control over whether I got fine sand or coarse sand or whatever. So I made Mr. Scoop, and Mr. Scoop's just like a watercolor card that I cut out with scissors, and then I ran my knife. You can see the groove down the back here. So I scored it, and that let me bend it. And it let me bend it really precisely. I scored it along a ruler. And now it's a really nice little applicator. I could have actually made the tip a little bit narrower, and maybe if I do another one I will. But this is still pretty good. For any big model, it would be certainly good enough. So tap, tap, tap. We gotta tap our base to make the sand go into the glue, and then we tap it again. And I'm going to take my knife and actually kind of get this gravel off the edge here. And sometimes the gravel just wants to stick to your knife. That's the way it goes. That be like that sometimes. Yeah, you do a really good job with your cats, Kerniko. So many people don't even realize that cats can be trained with clickers. I'm clicker training the puppy too, but it's like I'm bad about the clicker. She's learned a lot though, guys. She learned paw, so she'll give her paw now. She learned circle, which is turned in a circle, and so now she has to learn spin once she's got circle down. So circle and spin were always my dog's favorites because they get to like put a lot of energy into it. Oh, I was just going long because, you know, I had a puppy interruption. I started a little late because puppy, yeah, it's just because puppy, pretty much. And it doesn't really matter. I don't have anywhere to be until her vet appointments. So I thought, and it's so hot outside, I don't think I'm going to be taking my walk. Normally I'm in a hurry because I'm like, hey, I need to go take my walk before it gets too hot. But today is going to be 101, maybe 102, probably more like 104. I'm really waiting for this heat to just break. And I'm so happy we got that standing air conditioner for the bedroom. It saved us yesterday. Like, it totally saved us. It was ridiculously hot in the house. Although, when you consider that it was like 105 outside and the house didn't get any hotter than 85, that's still pretty great for a house. Like, we have good insulation. But it still got a bit old. Let's just put it that way. Oh, there's no crows now. Yeah, I figured that they'd be taking a break after calm. Oh, forgot my little tray. Using the lid for the gravel is a nice catch tray, but I always have paper underneath my mat too, so I could just use that. And then I think I want to make sure that I got some of this gravel. I don't want it to be clinging to areas I don't want it, so I have to, because the gravel is the same color as the cork, I kind of go in there and make sure that it's not adhering to anywhere I don't want it. There. Good. So that's looking good. I think I want to put plants in there, so I'm not going to put a big rock in there. It's not a lot of room. And then, yeah, that's, I guess I'll put one little dab of glue right here in the back to put some gravel down there, and we're good. Yeah, plastic straws. Yeah, we've got, yesterday was 105, today will be 102, I think, is what I looked at my phone last. Then it's supposed to drop into the upper 90s, haha. It's supposed to be awful hot all week. So we got that air conditioner unit for our bedroom just in time. Like, I took one look at the forecast, and I was just like, okay, we're getting this AC unit. Yeah, I think I said this before, but we stayed in Bryce's hometown of Reno, like Puppy and I did, the last night on the road. And I like Reno. Dang, Bryce. I can see why you live there. Like, we stayed on the California side of Reno, so the outer west side. It was nice. It was super nice. Yeah, this is our last gasp of summer, Kerniko. Yeah, joint wing. I really like cork. I think it's the best bulker as far as building bulk up quickly in basing and cheaply because it's so inexpensive. So I use this 1/4 inch cork, which is really just coaster cork. You can get big sheets of it for relatively inexpensive. It'll last you a long time. As you can see, I drew the shape that I wanted her to be standing on here and I cut it out. But yeah, I like this stuff a lot for 28 millimeter. For giants and for bigger models, I like this stuff, which is a lot more like a 5/8 inch cork. It's much chunkier. You can get a lot bigger rock spaces. I use this for 54 millimeter, 75 millimeter models and larger, and also for like 28 millimeter giants and ogres that are larger. But yeah, I really love cork because it makes a natural stone texture almost effortlessly. And when using, when you're looking at ruined stonework, it's a really good one because it gives you that flat top. And it's pretty easy back here. Like, you can still see the join line here, but with just a little work of digging out some sections and popping in some pieces of cork to mess up that line that you see, with very little effort, I can fill in that line and you won't be able to tell that it's 2 layers of cork. So it's really good. I love it because it's cheap, and then if you put a layer of like this thinned down wood glue over the top of it, it really seals it and makes it a lot less fragile. That is the one thing about cork, is it's soft, right? But you can add glue. And once again, we want to tap that to get it in. Get it all nice and set into that glue. Tap it to get it off. And we've got a nice filled in back. We didn't have to do much of anything. And that'll be fine. And then, yeah, so I do need to do a little bit of disguise. Disguise work. It's also lightweight, which isn't a big deal when you, like, it isn't necessarily a plus when you're working with small figures like this one, but it's a huge plus when you're working on diorama stuff or bigger pieces, to be able to use cork for the majority of your bulking work, and then you can still, like, carry the dang thing. It doesn't weigh 20 tons. Plaster being much heavier. Yeah, we're very hot up here right now. California getting a bit of a heat wave before our summer is over. And if I wouldn't, like, it was just me and David, like, I'd just, you know, put on a tank top and shorts and be all good. But little Miss Fluffball here, she does not do well in the heat, so. Alrighty. I'm going to do, actually, I'm going to do the layer of, I guess I'm going really late. I should probably hold it. I should probably, well, but I'm having fun and I missed you guys. I'm having fun. But yeah. So yeah, I cannot see enough good stuff out of cork. So let's just apply. I'll show you guys. So just apply this. Like, this is an easy one because it kind of cuts in and then it goes down. We can do exactly what we did for the base down there. We can get just a little bit of gravel as filler. And then kind of tap it until it goes around. Like, I don't want it to sit in a deep layer. I just want it to get texture in there. And once I have that texture in there, look, you can't see that it's 2 layers of cork anymore. So just, and the grittiness isn't that much of a difference. If you really want to disguise it, use green stuff and use cork as a stamp, and then you can make it totally like you would never know. But I've got so much of this little gravel all over this base as it is, that I can use just a little bit of it to fill in that area, and you would never be able to, like, you know, you wouldn't know necessarily that it was 2 layers of cork. So yeah, you can do all that. Ugh. Yeah, sagebrush, not fun. I mean, I can handle heat. There was enough Texas that I can handle heat, and I definitely prefer heat to cold. But it's just, you don't want to be standing out in the sun in 105, right? Like, even Texans, there's a reason Texans love the AC. But yeah, it's just a bit much, like when the house doesn't have any much, you know, air movement and stuff. Ooh, 90% humidity, but 65, so it's okay. Oh, I miss thunderstorms. David said there were thunderstorms at ReaperCon for the first bit. It was very stormy-ish. All right, guys, I think that's a good setup. We kind of showed you, since we were doing, for those who wondered, I went very fast. I used a lot of super glue to set up a base on the Wyvern a few days back before ReaperCon. So this is really, I talked a lot about white glue, and I decided today I really needed to, like, show you guys, no, seriously, this is the better way to work with cork. The other nice thing is that if you do have a little bit of sand that's kind of trapped on top of a rock, you can break it off with your knife. So sometimes you still need to do a little bit of adjustment with these rocks here. But the glue's very springy, and it's really easy to kind of, oh hey, there's a David. I hear a David. He has emerged. Just in time to skip breakfast in favor of lunch. But yeah, there we go. So yeah, if you see any little gravel bits on top of your rocks, you can still scrape those off. You can wait until it totally dries to do so, or you can do it now, as I just did. And we've got a very nice kind of deadfall look now here with some flat spots and some extra texture. And I can still, like, honestly, if this is too gritty of a texture, the answer, guys, and this is nice because wood glue is a little bit thicker, but I can put a layer of wood glue just over this, and it will really help integrate everything. And again, it'll help the cork to be more durable. So yeah, so like if I was gonna fill in my wood glue here, I would just paint a layer of wood glue over the top of everything. And this is gonna set in place any loose little gravel bits that might still be down there, or they'll come off on your brush, and it'll help fill in gaps, and it'll kind of fill in all of your little holes and stuff a little bit, just with one layer. So it'll smooth out any texture once it sets. It won't totally erase it, but it'll smooth it out. And I can also put some glue up here around her boot, just to make sure that she's sitting in there pretty good. But yeah, so for a pre-paint finisher, this is what I'd be doing, is I'll be coating this, and that will also reduce any texture that's left on this flat surface as well. Bryce says hi.
Hi.
Hi back. Alright, so yeah, so that's doing well, and we're good. Oh, and the pupper stuck her little head up. She's like, oh, yawn. Yuck. Woof. Yeah, marching band in like really hot temperatures, right? Those people are like serious sadists who like make you guys do that. Like make kids do that. They're like, oh, little baby, they're kids, so it'll be fine, it's not that hot. Yeah, right. And then you get a dozen kids with heat stroke, like you say, right? Alrighty, well, the puppy is sitting up because she heard her dad. And I am finished with setting this up today, so I'm going to let that dry. We're going to remember that we did that. And then we can kind of look at maybe the textural difference between like this and that, if we prime it, that stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, it's just hot. There's a reason that all like real good creatures go and hide in the shade when it's that freaking hot out. Like, hello? Yeah. Oh well. Yeah. Well, I'm hoping the pup gives me time to like make some lunch in a little bit. That's for sure. Right, little pupper pup? She says, "Would you guys like a puppy cam? I'm a little less dingy now." Are you less dingy? Hi, face. What you doing? Hi there. Yeah, that's the camera. Everybody's looking at you. Yeah, because you're so cute. With your little paws. Oh, yawn with the long tongue. Oh, yawn with the floofy ears. There you go, guys. Puppy yawn to conclude. She's not going to stay this little very long. Like, at around 12 weeks, they start to grow in their adult coat. But yes, thank you for the streams, everybody. As I mentioned before, you can find me on Patreon, patreon.com/paintingbig. I also have a YouTube channel with some fundamentals of miniature painting videos up. I actually missed this month's. I'll have to film it a little later in the month. But I've been doing 1 to 2 videos a month on the fundamentals of miniature painting. So go check it out. It's there. It's the second to last link in my thing. Yeah. Those are my two big things. And then I Twitch on Saturdays, which hopefully I'll get back to this Saturday, unless there's something weird going on. But yeah. Ta-da! Thank you, everybody. And may you have a lovely day. Tomorrow we start a new mini. Da-da! It's time to start Fish Dude. Fish Dude. Yeah, so Fish Dude. We're going to work on Fish Dude. Because Fish Dude. So we're going to have some fun. So yeah, so tune in to help me choose skin colors for Fish Dude tomorrow. Yeah, Fish, exactly. Exactly. Because we have to start painting Jason Weeby models so that we can have one for him for next year at ReaperCon, right? Alrighty. Yeah, those are the elemental scions. Exactly, Major. Alright. Have a good one, everybody, and tune in tomorrow. Bye-bye.